everyone, it's Mr. Canfield. Today we are going to be looking at lesson 1-2. So we're going to use a compass and a straight edge. So this is a compass. Here's my ruler, my straight edge, to construct things. So our first challenge with this is to construct this shape using just our compass. So let's talk about how to use the compass first. And if you already know, great. Hopefully you have one of these. But regardless, you know, if let's say I want to make a circle here, like centered there, what I'll do is I'll take the sharp end of my compass, and it helps. I've got actually a few pieces of paper here. It helps to have a few pieces of paper or a book, something that you can actually poke this into and kind of, you can press into the page. That way it doesn't, when I move my hand, I'm putting some pressure here, it doesn't slide along the page. You want this point to stay put. So then what I do is I take my compass and I open it up to a desired opening. Often, actually I'll do that first before I put it down. So I'm gonna keep it kind of small. You don't need to look at these numbers, you don't need them. So I'm just gonna put it here. And then I'm gonna hold onto the top. So it's pressed into the paper. And what I'm gonna do is drop it on the table. Very professional. So if you make a divot, you can always go and find the divot again. So it's very easy to mess this up. What I'm doing is I'm letting the pencil do the drawing. I'm not pressing down very hard. So I don't know if you can see this faint circle here, but there's a faint circle here that I drew using my compass. Things that people do to mess it up, they'll kind of put their hand on it like this and wind up pinching it, which, you know, we made a radius here, right? This is the radius of our circle. It winds up changing the radius. So you want to be careful not to mess with this at all. Sometimes they get really loose, and if you have a really loose one, you know, generally you want to get a different one because a nice stiff compass is better than a loose one. So something else, one way people will do it is they'll hold the pointy leg and they'll use that. That's another good way. And yet another technique that people do is they'll put the compass down and so I'm kind of angling it and they'll turn the paper. So that's a really good way to do it as well. So mess around a little bit, see if you can figure out how to make this picture. Feel free to pause the video. I'm gonna go in 3, 2, 1. So to make it, I actually just keep the radius what it was, and I put the center of my next circle on the perimeter, on the outside of my circle somewhere. So personally, I like to just stop there instead of doing the full picture. I like to just do this part. But if I wanted to, so I have a divot here so I can go back in, I can make a whole circle. But what I like to do is just this part. And then I keep the radius the same. And I'm gonna turn my paper a little bit to get my next one, and we'll go on to our next dot, do the same kind of thing. Notice I'm keeping the radius the same. So if you keep your compass straight up and down, it can make it kind of skid sometimes. That's why I've been leaning into it. At least that's in my own experience. And I'd love to hear if you're really good at using a compass, if you've got a way that you use them that works really well for you, definitely let me know, because I'm all about sharing techniques. So I like doing this, and so you're just going each place where it hits. Oh, I already drew that one. Each new place where it hits the circle, And if you manage to keep your radius the same perfectly the whole time, which looks like I did not, it might be hard to see in the video, but I'm off by just a little bit. But there we have this pretty picture, and you can go around and erase the outsides. And I even like to go in and this is the only pencil I have on me right now. Otherwise, I'd use like a colored pencil. But I like to go in and color it, and it turns, you know, kind of looks like a flower. But there we go. So why does this happen? Well, let's think about it. We make an original circle. Here it is. And we keep this radius the same. And we go over here. And if we make another circle, whoop, there I had my first trip up on video. So, you know, we have this amount that's overlapping. And so we're just going around and we're just taking all the overlaps and making more overlaps. Here's the best part. I think this kind of shows why this is happening. If I take my straight edge, and I connect where the petals end, so I'll put a dot there. So the way that I'll use my straight edge to connect and make a nice straight line connecting 2 points is I'll put my pencil down on the first point and I'll move the ruler up to it. And then, you know, knowing that my pencil has a little bit of thickness, I'll move my ruler just a little bit below or a little bit before where the other point's gonna be. And this time actually, I moved too far away. But you might be able to see what shape we're getting here. One of the most special shapes that we get in nature. We get a very natural shape out of this. We get a hexagon. So this is a way to construct what's called a regular hexagon. Just like a square is equal on all sides and has the same angles all the way around, a hexagon is equal on all, a regular hexagon is equal on all sides and has the same angles all the way around. So just a fun way for us to start doing what we call constructions. You can do lots of really artistic, beautiful things with a compass and a straight edge. But this isn't an art class. I'd encourage you though, mess around, have fun. There's some really cool stuff you can do. And show me. I'd love to see the stuff you come up with. So I used a marker and my dots are still there. So we're gonna go over, I'm pretty sure it's 3 basic constructions today. The first construction is take any line segment ever. So I'm just gonna randomly pick an angle. I'm just doing, here's my line segment, and I'm gonna make it 3 inches long, just so I know, okay, this is 3 inches long. Today, we'd say, hey, make a 3-inch long line. You take your ruler and you do that. But let's say we didn't have our ruler, let's say we didn't know exactly how long 3 inches was. What we could do is we could use our compass and a straight edge without numbers on it. So just pretending these numbers aren't here, we could recreate this however we wanted. So let's see how that works. So here's our segment. So if I open up my compass here and I make my compass exactly as long as that, now I can pick this up and move it anywhere I want. So what if I just drew some random line? So this random line, slightly different angle than this line over here, it doesn't really matter. But if I picked a point here, so like I got A, B, I know AB is 3. Let's call this C. I can actually use this, right? I can say here's A, here's B. Well, if I put my point down on point C and go to point wherever the compass crosses my line and call that point D, how far apart is C from D? How long is CD? Well, it's the same, right? I used the compass here, I didn't change it, and I moved it over here. And let's just, I've got the ruler, I can use the ruler. So I'll start it. Sure enough, it's 3 inches long exactly. So this is a way that no matter what the segment is, and you should try this, you should see if you can do this yourself. Draw some, using your straight edge, draw some random line segment, and then draw another line and copy the line segment. So there it is. Bring it over, put the dot down, boom. There we go. Here's the copy of the line segment. So far, I don't know, this one is not super impressive to me. The next one is kind of impressive. So I'm gonna draw two random line segments. Here's one, and then here's another, and we're gonna look at this angle. We're actually gonna copy this angle. So if we wanna copy an angle, oh, sorry for the slurp. I have some coffee and it's just so nice. So if we're gonna copy this angle here, what we'll do is we will drop a dot, and then, so we call this the vertex of the angle, right? So then we open up our compass, doesn't matter where you open it up to, but you go, woo, and you draw, we call this an arc. You don't draw the full circle, you just draw an arc at whatever amount you picked, It's walking away from me. I might need some more paper. Let me grab my other sheets and put them underneath. This should help. So, all right, now are we stuck in there? All right, oh yeah, I could just turn the paper. That works too. All right, so I got these two dots now, right? So I got these two dots. What I can do now to copy this angle, I'm gonna drop this over here. You can drop it wherever you want, but I'm gonna say this is the new vertex, this is the vertex of the new angle, and I'm gonna keep the compass the same, and I'm just gonna draw an arc. There, it's copied. No, just kidding. So the way that we can copy the angle now is, I know that this opens up a certain amount. Well, how much does it open up? It opens up this much, and gotta adjust it. All right, cool. So I opened up my compass so that it hits this point. So now what I can do is I can go over here and I can go to that dot on the circle. I can put my compass down and I can find where this new arc intercepts the old arc. If I put a dot there, and connect those, this new angle here and that angle there, they should be the exact same angle. So let's break this down. This is a little bit more complex. So the first thing we did was we put this arc in, right? And put an arc in, doesn't matter how big, right? It just needs to fit somewhere on the angle. So we put the arc down, then we drew this segment across the bottom, right? Draw line and put same arc on it, right? We got some arc, and then we came down here and we put the same arc. Then we came back here for step 3. This was the key step. Step 3 was you take your compass and you do your compass between these two. Adjust. Let's see if I can spell adjust. Adjust compass to fit the 2 dots. Points is the technical term. All right, and then step 4, use the new so we use the new opening starting here to see where it crosses. So I wrote, use the new opening to see where it crosses the arc already there. And then step 5, connect the dots. So you might notice that I'm not using super technical language here. I'm using language that works and makes sense for me. You want to use language that works for you. You may want to, like our book does, which you can go through and look on Savas. You can see they use a lot of labels, and they use slightly different language to talk about it. All right. So here's the last construction that we do today, and this video actually is going to be shorter, which is awesome. But seriously, this is something that you're going to need to show me that you know how to do at some point. So make sure that you are able to do these on your own. I would write down the process for each of them, how you did it. This is the coolest one. All right. Let's make a line segment. I'm going to make it, I'll make it 6 inches long. So we know that's 6 inches long. We're gonna make something called a perpendicular bisector. Well, what does the word perpendicular mean? It means a right angle, right? 90 degrees. What does bisector mean? Well, bi means 2 and sector means like pieces, right? So 2 pieces. It's gonna take it and cut it in half at a 90-degree angle. So like if I was eyeballing it, it's gonna look something like that. So check it out. Here's what you do. You take your compass, and the first part is you've got to make an arc, and the arc has to be over halfway. So take your compass and stretch it to a point where it's over halfway. You don't have to know exactly where it is, but it has to be over halfway. So like here is not going to work. So as long as you're over halfway, you're good. And so then you put a little mark up here, then you put a little mark up here. If you really want, you could just, you know, draw that whole piece of a circle. You don't need to. You're gonna have a little piece up here, little piece down here. Then what you do, keep the compass the same, whatever you used. So I'll even double check, yep, I'm still the same. Then you take your compass and you jab it into the other end point of the line segment, and you see where you get a crisscross. So see they overlapped here. This is why you don't need to draw the whole piece of the circle. And then up here, looks like they intersected. All right. So if you missed the steps for how I got here, just go back, rewind. So you got that dot, you got that dot. Guess what? If I'm perfect, if I did it perfectly, this is a right angle, and this segment are now equal to each other. So, perpendicular bisector, so cool. You're able to make a right angle perfectly with just a flat, with something that can make straight lines. And, you know, and pretend that this doesn't have, you know, right angles on it. But a compass, something that does circles and just flat, lets us make a right angle. So those are the main ideas. What I would do is try the homework problems and try the lesson quiz and just make sure that it works for you. And let me know if you have any questions. All right, have a good one. Bye.